Hello students, I am Professor Avik Kumar Sen of Indian Institute of Hotel Management. Today we will be discussing the subject Principles of Management. Under that, we will be discussing the primary function, that is the planning. As we all know, the term planning is pretty common for all of us. Every now and then also we use the term planning. Now, what is it? What do you all understand by this term planning? First of all, planning. It is a process by which a person generally decide an objective and based on which they do the work. As for our day-to-day life, we do form plans in the same way the companies or the organization also form their plan to do the work in a proper way. Now, what do the organization do in the planning function? In the planning function, it begins with setting up a goal or an objective. When the company's management have decided a goal, then they do the necessary steps like they decide what all activities they need to achieve that goal. Second, they decide how to do those work, how to do those activities so that the goal can be achieved. Thirdly, they decide who will be doing those work. That means to achieve the goal, the activities which have been decided, who will be undertaking those activities. And finally, when those activities need to be done. That means what is the suitable time to do what work so that the goal can be achieved in a proper way. So after the definition or after we got a basic idea what is planning is all about, next we will be discussing the characteristics. So what are the characteristics? The first characteristics is fundamental process or fundamental function. What do we understand? By this we understand that planning is the major or the primary function of management. Based on this function, the other functions like organizing, staffing, directing, controlling, all these activities are based upon this function. That means whenever the management decide an objective, they decide what would be the suitable activities. Based on that, the organizing function come into play. Then comes the staffing followed by directing, and finally the controlling function helps the management to achieve the objective. After the first feature, the second feature is goal oriented. Why it is stated as a goal oriented process? Because in the planning function, what the management is doing, they are deciding an objective. So in the goal, it is stated as goal oriented because the management decide what should be the suitable activities which will ultimately help them to achieve that objective. That means so that when and how, what kind of activities they need to undertake so that the goal or the objective which have been decided can be achieved in a proper way. The third feature is decision making. Why it is stated as decision making? Because as we all know, when the management have decided an objective, they might find different ways or numerous ways to achieve that objective. So under this decision making process, the management of the organization need to decide what should be the suitable way to achieve the objective. Why so? Because it might be possible that the certain alternative might not be suitable for their existing resources. For some cases, the way might not help them to achieve the objective in the suitable time. So it is up to the management to decide which option should be suitable for them. That means which will not only help them to achieve the objective in suitable time, at the same point of time that can be done with the existing resources, right? Then comes the next feature, that is pervasive. Before we discuss this, we need to know what do we understand by the term pervasive. Basically, the term pervasive means widely spreaded. So why it is stated that planning is widely spreaded? It is because whenever the management of the organization is deciding an objective or whenever they are implementing a plan, that is not only being impacted or implemented human resources of the organization, but it is also impacted on the people who are directly or indirectly associated with the organization. That means the people might be the shareholder, the people might be the supplier. At some point of time, the customer of the organization is also getting impacted by a plan which has been implemented into the organization. For that very reason, it is stated as pervasive in nature. The next characteristic is futuristic. Why planning is stated as a futuristic process? Because we all know whenever we are planning something, it is always directed for the future. That means we want to achieve something in future, or we want to attain some work in future. For that very reason, it is stated as futuristic. The next feature is it is a continuous process. Why it is a continuous process? Because we all know whenever an organization is undertaking or doing some planning, after the achievement of it, the management will again redecide a plan and they will again start working on it. So till the time a company is doing its business, continuously they need to plan, and with successful achievement of the plan, the company can do their business for a longer period of time. So we have seen the different characteristics and definitions, right? After this, we will be discussing why planning is important for the organization. Why it is important? First and foremost, by the help of planning, the company can actually decide what they want to achieve or where they want to reach, right? Secondly, by the help of planning, the company can actually estimate or foresee what gonna happen in future. Based on that, they can do the necessary activities so that the company can do their business in a proper way. Thirdly, by the help of planning, the company can actually take the necessary measures so that the company can perform well. Measures in the sense, we all know that an organization have to do their work based on the external environment. That means certain aspects, certain changes which are happening in the external environment, based on that a company need to plan and decide accordingly. So by the help of planning, they can actually foresee what kind of changes gonna happen in the future. Based on that, they can decide the activities which will help them to achieve the work and to run the business in a proper way. So by this way, we have seen that how planning plays an important role. So we have seen that how planning is important, what are the goals, what are the objectives, how planning plays an important role for the organization. So today I end my session here. Next day we will meet again with a new topic. Till then, thank you all and have a nice day.